He says, how do you know the name is Andy? She says, Andy sat and Now we're going to change the mood altogether. There are so many stories that in Judaism that involve animals. One doesn't hear them as often as other stories, but I have about, 20 or 30 Jewish stories involving animals, and I've chosen one to give you today. I hope you enjoy it. If you don't, I won't tell it to you. King Solomon was known for his wisdom and his great judgments. He was also known for being able to understand the languages of all the birds and the beasts of the field. And sometimes an animal would come to him with a complaint about another animal, or indeed a complaint about humanity, and he would listen, and then he would give his judgment. Now it so happened that a lioness came to him one day, roaring with distress. She says, I have a complaint, I have a complaint. And King Solomon said, I am listening, lioness. And she said, why must there always be war? Why must we always attack one another? Why can there not be peace in the world? Is it fair that the hunter came into my lair and ate my and killed my babies, and not only killed my babies, but he skinned them? Has he no compassion for the mother? Has he no compassion for the babies? I want justice, I want justice, I want that hunter killed. And she roared with distress. And King Solomon said to the lioness, Lioness, I am going to tell you a story. And when I have finished my story, you tell me who is to blame. And this is the story that King Solomon told the lioness. There was a mongoose and a weasel, and they were friends. And when they were talking, the weasel said to the mongoose, Mongoose, oh mongoose, the snake comes into my cave, and every time I'm away from home just for a very small amount of time to find food for my babies, the snake slithers in and he takes one or two of my babies. I want justice, I want justice, I want the snake killed. And the mongoose said, we can arrange that. We will go fishing, and we will lay fish from the exit of the snake's cave all the way to a secret hiding place, and there we will wait, and when the snake has eaten all the fish, he will come into our secret hiding place and we will kill him. And the weasel said, what a good plan. And mongoose, when the snake is dead, it will make a fine meal for you. And the mongoose agreed. So they went fishing, and they caught lots and lots of little fish, and they laid them from the entrance of the snake's cave all the way to a secret hiding place, and they watched. And soon enough, the snake smelled the fish, and he started to eat the fish. And when he got about halfway, a scorpion saw him, and the scorpion reared up and struck. But instead of striking the snake by mistake, the scorpion struck a hen. And the hen screamed and ran to the rooster, and the rooster opened up his beak and he shouted, "Cock-a-doodle!" For he thought that the scorpion had declared war upon them. And this woke a wolf who was sleeping nearby. And the wolf started running, and when he passed the weasel's house, he saw that the two babies were unprotected of the weasel. So he ran in and he ate two of the babies before running on his way. And when the weasel came back from the hiding place and she walked into her, she saw that her babies were gone, and she knew that the wolf the judge and she said, "The wolf has eaten my babies. I want justice. I want justice. I want the wolf dead." And the judge said, "Tell me, weasel, what do you feed your babies on?" And the weasel said, "I feed my babies on birds, Your Honor. Birds." And the judge said, "In that case, you and you alone are responsible for your baby's death." And then King Solomon looked at the lioness, and the lioness dropped her head, for she understood. Oh yes, she understood. And it says in the Talmud, "Do not do unto others that which you would not have done unto you." So how are we doing for time, Amy?
Well, if you have more stories, I think we'd love to hear them. Am I right? Yeah.
Shall we
That's
have
entirely up to you.
Well, I'll tell
Would you
one
like
more
to
story.
have-
No. I'll tell one more story before tea. What do you
Okay.
think? Have you got time to hear one more? I'll tell one more story.
It was long, long ago.
Oh, a long time ago. Oh, yes.
I came for that sentence. I came here to hear you sing a long time.
Come, stand up with me. We do. This story, I have to tell you, is also one of those stories that goes right across all the cultures and the countries of the world. It's called The Dream. It's called The Dream and the Treasure. In Holland, the protagonist is a shoemaker. In China, the protagonist is a tofu seller. This is the Jewish story that was once again rewritten by Elie Wiesel, and it is called The Dream and the Treasure. And it starts like this. A long time ago. Brilliant, thank you. All right, so, you know, some of the most beautiful Jewish stories involve dreams. We think of Jacob and Joseph, their dreams, King Solomon, dreams. Right the way through Jewish history, there have been dreams and their significance. My husband tells me what he dreams, and I have got no idea. Anyway, this is how this starts. In the Polish city of Krakow, there lived a man by the name of Avram ben Beryl. Now, Avram ben Beryl had a wife and many children, and they lived in a small cottage that had 2 rooms, a bedroom and a kitchen. And the bedroom was divided into 2. On one side of the curtain, Avram ben Beryl and his wife slept, and on the other side, all the children slept. But the other room was the kitchen, where the wife used to spread fresh straw every day. And in the middle of that kitchen, there was a black pot-bellied stove that gave them warmth all through the cold, snowy winter months. He was very poor. Just to buy 2 candles for Shabbos, some food, pay the lessons for his children just a little, and he just wished that he could feed them better, buy them better clothes. When a dress became too small for one of the girls, it was handed on, and when that became too small, the wife would add a little circle of lace at the hem to make it last a little bit longer. And when he went up in the morning, he would wash, he would dress, he would say his morning prayers, he would sing a psalm to God, then he would go to the synagogue, and then he would go to work, because as his wife exclaimed, "You have responsibilities." And at work he would daydream. He would daydream that he had enough money to build a shul, and it would be called Reb Avraham ben Berel's shul. And he daydreamed that he would have a long table, and after Shabbos at synagogue he would be able to invite all his friends and say, "Come, my friends, sit at my Shabbos table. There is challah, there is wine, there is enough for everybody." And especially special was the fact that he would be able to have a second piece of fish. Now these daydreams started to turn into dreams at night. And one night he had a very, very unusual dream. He heard a voice in his dream that said, "Avram ben Berel, you must travel from here in Krakow, in Poland, and you must travel to the great city of Prague." And there in his mind's eye, he saw the great city of Prague. And the voice went on, "There is a bridge leading up to the palace. You must climb down under the bridge, and where you climb, you must dig there, for there is treasure waiting for you, and you only." And when he woke up in the morning and told his wife about going to Prague, I mean, he could never go to Prague. He told his wife, "We haven't got enough money to take a coach, I would have to walk." His wife said, "Please, Abraham, it's just a dream. Come, wash, dress, say your morning prayers, go to the synagogue, go to work. You have responsibilities." And he said, "Oh, you're quite right, you're quite right. These dreams are ridiculous." And the very next night he had another dream. And this time the voice said, "So nu, Avram ben Berel, what have you got to lose? You don't want all your problems solved? Come, make the journey." And when he woke up in the next morning, he told his wife, and she said, "You're a daydreamer. Now you're a night dreamer. Get up, get washed, say your morning prayers, go to the synagogue, go to work. You have responsibilities." And the third night, he had the same dream, but this time it was more insistent. "When you get up in the morning, Avram ben Berel, start your journey, for the treasure is there, and all your problems will be solved. What have you got to lose?" And he got up in the morning, and he told his wife he was indeed going to walk all the way. And she packed him some bread and cheese of fish. Well, thank you for inviting me. And I would especially like to thank Aileen and Zelda for their contribution. And it's just so lovely today that my husband Edgar came, and my daughter Terry, and my very favorite machetenister, Helen. So thank you, Helen, for being here. Helen is so supportive, and I really do appreciate it. It's lovely, and thank you all for your attention.
You haven't lost anything. And lovely stories, I'm sure we all enjoyed them. Rosinka. And
Raisela.
I call her Rosinka.
Thank you for coming again.
So we're happy to have your husband and your daughter here, and your machetenister. Yes. And this is for you to enjoy. Thank you, and I hope to see you again.
Without any
And
doubt.
Oh, Gemma.